Have you ever said something you thought was super smart and then your teacher just hits you with, "So what?" It's so frustrating, right? Well, today we're going to crack the code on that. We're going to learn the secret to going way beyond just stating facts and start uncovering some seriously cool hidden meanings. This is how you analyze like a pro. Let's get into it.
Okay, let's just jump right in and see the difference. On the left, we've got what we call a weak analysis. You see the quote from the artist, "I paint my own reality," and the takeaway is, this shows she was creative. I mean, yeah, it's true, but so what, right? Now look at the right side. That's a strong analysis. Same quote, but look at that explanation. It talks about rejecting rules, celebrating her identity. That's the good stuff. That's the leap we're going to learn how to make today.
So here's the game plan. First, we'll talk about why we even need to analyze stuff. Then, I'm going to introduce you to your new superpower, these things called critical lenses. We'll check out the three main ones, I'll give you a simple formula to build your analysis, and then we'll put it all together. Easy.
All right, first up, why evidence needs analysis. Let's move beyond that dreaded "so what" question for good.
Think about it like this. You just saw the best movie ever, and you tell your friend, that movie was amazing. What's the very next thing they're going to say? Why, right? They want to know what made it so good. And just saying it was cool isn't enough. You have to explain why. And that, right there, is analysis.
So let's nail this down. Analysis is just you explaining two things: why your evidence matters and how it proves your point. That's it. You're not just dropping a fact and running away. You're the guide, showing everyone what that fact actually means.
Okay, part 2. Get ready, because this is where you get your new superpower. We're talking about critical lenses.
So what in the world are critical lenses? It's actually a pretty simple idea. They're just different ways of looking at your evidence to find all the hidden stuff, the secret meanings, the cool connections. The best way to think about it? Imagine you have a bunch of special glasses. Each pair you put on lets you see something totally new.
You know how you use filters on a photo? The picture itself doesn't change, but one filter makes the colors pop, another one makes it look all dramatic, right? Well, critical lenses are exactly like that, but for ideas. Each lens you use helps you see and notice different details in the same piece of evidence. So let's take a closer look at the three main lenses you're going to have in your toolkit. First up, we have the sociological lens. This lens focuses on the big picture, society. You're looking at how groups of people interact, who has the power, what's fair or unfair, and what the rules are. So when you're using this lens, you'll be asking questions like, what does this tell us about society as a whole? Are there any power imbalances here? How are different groups getting along or not getting along? And are people following the social rules or are they pushing back?
Okay, next up is the formalist lens.
Now, this lens is all about the craft. It's less about society and more about how something was made. Think like an artist or a director. You're focusing on the structure, the techniques, and the specific choices the creator used.
With this lens, you're asking about the nitty-gritty details. What specific techniques did they use? Why that word, or that color, or that symbol? You're looking for patterns, repetition, anything that shows a deliberate choice was made. And finally, let's talk about the cultural studies lens. This lens is all about identity. It helps you look at things through the perspective of heritage, traditions, and personal beliefs. It's about where someone comes from and what makes them who they are. So you'll be asking, how does this piece of evidence reflect someone's identity or how they see themselves? Are there traditions or customs being shown here? How does this connect back to history or heritage? It's all about the values and beliefs that are being expressed.
All right, so now you have the tools. Let's get to part 4, how to build your analysis. I'm going to give you the master formula.
This is a super simple 4-step recipe for success. First, you have a lead-in to give some context. Second, you drop in your evidence, the quote or the fact. Third, and this is the most important part, you use one of those lenses to explain what it means. And fourth, you tie it all back to your main argument. That's the whole thing. Okay, so theory is one thing, but let's see how this works in the real world. Time for putting it all together. Let's see a strong example in action. Okay, check this out. It says, by choosing to paint her own reality, the artist challenged the traditional rules of art. That's our lead-in and evidence. Now for the magic part. Through a cultural studies lens, this reveals a deep pride in our own unique heritage and identity. See? It names the lens and explains the meaning. And then it wraps it up. This supports the idea that she used art to express pride in our identity. Boom! Connects right back to the main point. That is a perfect,
pro-level analysis.
So here's the bottom line. Analysis is what turns your evidence from just a simple, boring fact into powerful, knockout proof. It's a total game changer.
So, you've got the tools now. You have these lenses. You can literally see things other people will notice. So my question for you is, what are you going to see differently now?